We are finally here. We're to the last step of the outlining process. Note, this is just the outlining process. You still have to practice and present your speech, so you're not finished. But this is the last step of the outlining process, and even though you may not think it, it is a really important step. We are to the citing sources and the works cited page. So let's go to see what our textbook has to say about citing sources. And the first thing that I want you to notice, if it'll ever switch over, is that here in the textbook, it talks about citing sources and it talks about evaluating the credibility of your sources, which we've already talked about. And then the style guides. You can use APA, MLA, Chicago Manual of Style. I prefer MLA. I think it's the easiest and most straightforward. You can choose whichever one you like, but if you don't have one that you prefer, I suggest using MLA. And then your book says that plagiarism is a significant concern, and that's one of the reasons to cite your sources. And I think they're right. You do want to cite sources simply to avoid giving the impression that the information you are sharing is information you researched or developed yourself. So if you read something somewhere that you have added into your speech, you want to be certain that you give the original source credit for that. That is what your in-text citation and your full text citation do. But another reason, and I think maybe a more important reason to cite your sources, is because it enhances your credibility. So if you can show your listeners that you understand the rules of this game that we're playing, this academic game, this credibility game, you understand the rules, you understand source credibility, you understand research, you understand how that works, and you have gone to the trouble of finding credible sources to support you, that actually makes you more credible. And I think it's a great reason to be motivated to cite your sources. Now, I use the Purdue Online Writing Center, Online Writing Lab site, mostly just because it's the one I sort of have ended up using, and I use it to help me cite my sources. For this speech, and for a lot of speeches, you will probably end up using primarily online sources. And the temptation when you use online sources is to go to that online source and go to that URL, copy it, paste it onto your works cited page and be like, done. So easy. But I have bad news for you. You're not done. The URL is not a complete source citation. And so to get a complete source citation, you have to go through the process of citing your sources. Let's go to the Purdue Online Writing Lab. And here, this is easy to miss. I'll post a link to this page, by the way. This is easy to miss. This is what we're going to do right here. And it's powered by Citation Machine. You will pay for access to this either with your dollars or with your attention. All you have to do is watch an ad and then you can use it. I've already watched the ad for this time around. I am going to paste my URL right here into this website citation, and it's going to take me to a new page. And what it's doing is it's trying to find that website. And there we go. But I'm looking here and I'm saying, you know what? This is not my source. My source was the 17 retail bakery trends. I must have gotten off of that page somehow. So I am going to go back. Why did you go back there? I am going to go back to my 17 retail bakery trends, and I'm going to copy that URL because that's the one I really want to cite. So the first thing that I'm doing is I'm making sure that what I'm citing is exactly the source that I used. If I used just bakingbusiness.com, it would be the wrong source citation. So here we go. This is what I want. 17 retail bakery trends for 2017. It's working on finding the source. There it is. It says one. I say yes. Click on that. Now this is what it's doing. It's telling me it found all of this necessary information. The only thing it needs from me is help with the publisher or sponsor, and I'll do that on the next step. So I hit continue. And so what it's doing is it's giving me the layout of what it's trying to cite. It says this is the article title, this is the website title, this is the URL, this is when it was published, but can you help us find the author of the information? And so I'm going to go over here and I'm going to say, I see I've used up my access to that. So I'm just going to go to my bakery speech folder. and see if I can find an author. Let's see if I can find an author. Do we have an author here? By John Unrein and Nico Rosler. All right, so I'm going to go back to my citation, and I'm going to add John Unrein. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but we're going to go with it. And we're going to add another, and we're going to go Nico Rosler. Was that his name? R-O-E-S-L-E-R. R-O-E-S-L-E-R. Okay, so I have added in my authors. I want this to complete the citation. It's going to work for me, and here it is. Now you can see I've already gone through the process of citing these other sources. So if this were all of the sources that I used, then great. All I need to do now is copy those sources, and I'm going to go to outline here. This is my works cited page. You see that this is my outline, and I am going to send my cursor to the left, and then I'm going to paste and match formatting. It's going to put it into the same spacing and font and size that I already have there. And I am almost finished here. But the other thing that I need to do is go in, and the one little hiccup that makes MLA kind of a pain is hanging indent. So I'm going to go to paragraph. You can just look up how to do hanging indent on Word. I happen to know since I've done this literally hundreds of times, and I'm going to add hanging indent. And this is an appropriate works cited page. These are the works that I have cited in the body of my outline. So this is what I'm looking for in terms of your works cited page, a full source. Let's just make sure. This is what I would call the full source citation. This is the author information, the title, when it was published, and where it can be located. Now, I'm not going to say all of that information in the body of the outline. Let's go to see where I cited Lisa Ferguson. Do you remember way back up there in my first main point where I say Lisa Ferguson in the Baker's Guide to Opening a Successful Bakery, blah, 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 blah? Okay, this is what is called an in-text citation. This is in the text of the work, of the outline or the paper or whatever you're writing. This in-text citation is a shortened version of the full citation that's in the works cited list. You see, here's the same citation, but if I wanted to find that, all I'd have to do is go to this works cited page and look it up. Now, every time I use information from a source that I've done research with, I'm going to add the information and the in-text citation in the body of the outline. So here it is here. Here's the next one. This is another in-text citation, former bakery owner and blogger. If you would prefer to add your in-text citations parenthetically, you could do that as well. So if I wanted to do that, I could say here for this one, let's see, mini bakers, I could just delete this here and add this and put my in-text citation parenthetically. So I would say Ferguson inside my punctuation. Now, this parenthetical source citation would cue me, the reader, to go down and look for that source, and I would find it. Oh, I've been spelling it wrong. It's F-U-R-G-I-S-O-N. Okay, now, the important thing to remember, though, is that I have to say these source citations out loud when I am giving my speech. So instead of doing them parenthetically, which is perfectly acceptable, I am going to put them in, I call this incorporated. I incorporate them into the text so that when I'm practicing my speech, I'm already practicing citing those sources orally. Orally means out loud. So I'm going to actually say in the speech, when I give the information, where that information comes from. So I might say my speech like this. The first thing you need to know about bakery ownership is that it requires a lot more than just making pretty cakes. For example, you have to end up offering a variety of services to cope with slow seasons. In fact, Lisa Ferguson, author of The Baker's Guide to Opening a Successful Bakery, indicates that many bakers find it necessary to offer catering services because business is slow in cooler months. So what I've done is I've told my audience, I didn't come up with this myself, Lisa Ferguson did. And that's why it's so important to incorporate those source citations. One of the main things I'll be looking for in your outlines is information that needs source citations and whether those source citations are there. Now, the last thing that I will say to you about this is your works cited list should include only the works that are cited in your outline. So if you have 7 entries on your works cited list, but you have only actually cited 3 sources in the body of your outline, then you need to get rid of the ones that you didn't cite. This is not where you write down every single source that you ever even thought about looking at when you were thinking about your speech. A works cited list lists only the information, only the sources that were cited in the body of the outline. Okay, so there we have it. We have all of the steps of putting together an outline. Coming soon, I will have a video for you on how to practice your presentation. But for now, focus on the outline. I will put this in an announcement, but I'll say it here too. Turn your outline in when it's due and have it completed to the best of your ability. When you post your outline, if you have questions, add those questions in the comments and I will take a look at your outline. I will keep returning your outline to you until you either have a passing grade or enough of a grade that you could give a successful speech. So here's the way it will work. You will turn your outline in. I will grade it. If there are significant elements that you need to address, you will get a 0 in the outline, which is a holding place, until you address those issues and resubmit your outline. That means it doesn't have to be perfect the first time. And if you're struggling, a great thing to do is turn your outline in with questions and give me a chance to look at it and get back to you. So a 0 just means that you have more work to do. It doesn't mean you're finished, kaput, it's over, okay? So if you get a 0 on your outline, the first thing you should do is look at the comments from me because those comments will tell you exactly what you need to do to address the issues that I'm seeing. Okay, that is it for our 7-step process. Or is it 6? 7, 6, I don't even know. Process of outlining your speech. I wish you the best of luck with this. Please contact me if you have any questions. All right.